I get it when a friend asks, should I spend a few thousand on a whole house camera system or just stick with the cheap plug-and-play thing? You want to make sure the money you drop actually buys you peace of mind, not a wall of grainy footage you'll never look at. I've been digging through a mix of spec sheets, YouTube unboxings, and forum threads to see if this REOLINK 16-channel, 12-megapixel bullet camera kit actually delivers on its promises. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest question most people face with a system this big is whether the extra resolution is worth it. A 12-megapixel sensor captures roughly 4000-3000 pixels, which is a noticeable jump from the 4 or 5-megapixel rigs you see on most consumer kits. In real life, that means you can zoom into a license plate or a face and still read details without the image turning into a pixelated mess. I've seen a few home security demos where the camera was set up on a side yard fence. When a delivery driver pulled up, the footage could clearly show the courier's badge and the exact model of the van. That level of detail can be a game changer if you ever need to hand over video to police or an insurance adjuster. But resolution alone isn't the whole story. Nighttime is when most cameras stumble, and this REOLINK set claims full-color night vision. What that actually looks like on the ground is a little LED spotlight built into each bullet that lights the scene just enough to keep the colors true, instead of the classic green-tinted monochrome you get on cheaper units. In a quick backyard test, the lights barely lit up a walking path, but still gave you a color view of a cat prowling around. It's not a floodlight, so you won't blind a neighbor, but it does give you a usable picture if you need to verify a pet's late-night wanderings. Smart detection is another selling point that's become a buzzword lately. REOLINK says the cameras can differentiate between humans, vehicles, and pets, and will only push alerts for the categories you enable. In practice, that means you could set the front door camera to ignore a raccoon, but still ping you when a delivery truck rolls up. I tried the pet detection on a friend's Labrador that loves to dash across the driveway at dawn. The system correctly tagged the movement as pet and didn't send a push notification, while a neighbor's car triggered a human vehicle alert. It's a decent time saver if you're the type who gets annoyed by dozens of motion-detected pings each night. Two-way talk is something you'll notice only when you actually need it. The built-in speaker and mic let you speak through the camera, which can be useful for telling a delivery person to leave a package at the back door or scaring off a stray animal. In a test, I shouted, "Hey, go away," at a raccoon that was nosing around a trash can, and the animal bolted. It's not a replacement for a real-time security guard, but it adds a layer of interaction that many budget rigs lack. Now let's talk about the wiring and installation side. The kit is all Pi power over Ethernet, so you run a single Cat 5e/6 cable for both power and video. That means no messy adapters or battery swaps, but it also means you need a network switch that can supply PO to each camera. The NVR, Network Video Recorder, in the box has 16 PO ports right out of the gate and can be expanded to 24 if you ever want to add more lenses around a large property. For a homeowner who's comfortable pulling a few Ethernet runs through walls or using a small conduit, this is a clean solution. If you're renting or you don't want to mess with cabling, the system feels like a heavy weight you'll struggle to justify. Ease of use is where a lot of prosumer gear trips up, but the REOLINK interface is surprisingly straightforward. After plugging the NVR into your router, you open the companion app, and the cameras appear automatically, no manual IP address hunting. The menu is organized into clear tabs for live view, playback, and detection settings. There's a bit of a learning curve if you dive into the advanced motion zone tweaking, but the default settings work well for most households. I didn't run into any menu friction that forced me to stare at a manual for 10 minutes. One practical downside is that the system doesn't have a built-in battery backup. Since the cameras rely on PO, a power outage means you lose video feed unless you've already hooked the NVR up to an UPS. That's fine for most people who have reliable power, but if you live in an area prone to storms, you might need to budget for an extra UPS to keep the NVR running. Another point to consider is storage. The bundle includes a 4 terabytes hard drive, which can hold roughly 3 weeks of continuous 12-megapixel recording, depending on how many cameras you actually use and